Hey, it's Kathy Fettke doing an On the Market YouTube video presented by Fundrise. I am here at the DFW airport after attending 2 conferences this weekend. And as I was sitting here reflecting, waiting for my flight, both conferences were different mainly because of the differences in loan structure. Multifamily investors are more tied to the Fed rate hikes and costs that are just really not even feasible. Whereas on the single family side, those investors are mostly locked into 30 or fixed rate mortgages, and they weren't really feeling any pain at all. Investors are really bullish on the single family market. I did some interviews at the multifamily conference, and here's what some people had to say about whether we're in a recession or not.
On property, I've noticed delinquencies are coming up. We're having to focus hard on collections. We're getting pressure from both from the revenue side as well as the expense side on mortgages as well. The main thing has been pausing distributions. We need to make sure we're as well capitalized as possible on site. So really just building up any reserves you can, focusing as much as you can, really on driving value that will increase your revenue has been key. Ignoring some projects. We've got one that we were planning on rebuilding a bunch of fire burn units. We're putting that project on pause because we want to be able to focus on the day-to-day operations as opposed to the larger CapEx value-add projects we were anticipating taking care of when we first acquired the property.
We are definitely just trying to keep our powder dry right now. I think everyone can kind of feel some pressure that's going to happen. 2 contending forces. There's a lot of wait and see. You can all see that interest rates are just going to have this really interesting impact. At the same time, there is so much pent-up energy on capital right now. Everyone's sick and tired of being on the sidelines. Quite frankly, we're just kind of waiting for 2 interesting things to happen. A lot of bridge loans are going to expire, a lot of inventory is going to come on the market, a lot of failures going to be taking place, but at the same time, there's so much capital that's going to come in. So really, we're still doing our homework, just trying to figure out which side's going to win. Are some of the failing opportunities going to win, or is the rush in of capital? Because every time someone's come on the market, someone's going to rush in and just try and sweep up a good deal. So we're just going to wait and see where interest rates and cap rates go.
Well, I think that we've already heard some stuff in the news. And so, there's a lot that's going to be coming down the pike. And I think in the next 8 to 9 months, we're going to see a lot of inventory showing up. And that's
at the same time, really, I think the biggest contention is going to be bridge loans. And all of those bridge loans started about 18 months ago. So really, there's a melting slab of ice that everyone is standing on. No one's doing new bridge loans right now. So I would just say that it has to be within this Q3, Q4 timeframe. Anything after that is just going to be after the expiration of bridge loans. So it's not like a wait forever, just analysis paralysis. We're basically just sharpening our pencil, figuring some things out. At the same time, we're keeping involved with all of our capital raisers, and if we find a good deal, we're still underwriting. If we find something good, we're going to pounce on it just like everyone else. If it cash flows with fixed rate debt, it'll make sense. And then we have a great opportunity to come in and do a refi once rates come down.
Just looking at the economic contraction, and we've seen 2 quarters. I know they've changed the definition on Wikipedia, but I believe we're at definitely the early stages of a recession. In a recession, you would expect to see pricing come down, but this is a weird one with everything that's going on with inflation. So we're starting to see now prices start to normalize, but prices had gone vertical. Salaries had gone up extremely. Insurance, we do Florida, so we've seen insurance costs greatly increase, 2x after the hurricane last year really affected the state. Interest rates. Interest rates is the big one. So I think that's the biggest impact to us as multifamily investors, and anyone that had floating debt is really getting hammered right now. I think you have to really bootstrap it. I think you have to reduce costs. You have to pick up and put in hard sweat equity, trying to lend that to the cost savings, continue your business plan, but spend money wisely. You need to have a war chest. Maybe it's not the time that you have to do things that don't add direct financial benefit, maybe painting, defer, but keep money stacked and keep your war chest there, because there's no guarantee that your draw requests are going to be there. And you have to also start preparing for some rent compression as the recession that I believe we're in, it starts to accelerate.
I think everybody has that concern right now, so it's pretty prevalent, and I think we're all just kind of making decisions with that in mind right now. Yeah, so right now we're in the multifamily space. I know myself am being a lot more cautious about the sponsors I'm working with, the deals that I'm going into. The due diligence is a lot more thorough. We're at a conference right now where people are sharing their experiences from the past year, the challenges with some of the deals. So I think we're just putting the brakes on a little bit until something really, really works, and it's being double, triple checked essentially.
Well, we've got 3 or 4 things that come to mind real quick. We're increasing our reserves. We're monitoring our expenses. We're looking at our CapEx program to make sure that the CapEx program is appropriate. Last but not least, we're adjusting our underwriting to reflect the current market conditions. It has changed, and underwriting needs to reflect that as well. So we're looking at cap rates, right? The market in Phoenix, where I look for property, maybe it was 4.5 over 5. It's now more like 6, 6.25. So we're making sure that our underwriting reflects the new cap rates and also the lending as well. We primarily work with bridge. We're also looking at agency and HUD. And so when we work with bridge lenders and we were getting bridge at say 400 plus SOFR, it's now 500 or 600 plus SOFR. When we look at agency, where agency was maybe 4 or sub 4, we're now looking at 4.5 to 5.5 and really more like closer to 6. So that all has to be reflected in the underwriting. And right now we have a seller and a buyer sort of gap right now as the market tries to readjust. So sellers are still hopeful of the old prices. Sellers are like, well, we're gonna wait. And buyers are like, well, we're not ready to pay that price yet. The market has adjusted. So that's the adjustment that we need to do on underwriting.
Now, at the single family conference, again, the attitude was very different. People aren't feeling the same kind of pain because of those fixed rate mortgages. They are feeling some of the increases in insurance, certainly in Florida, but otherwise it's just more of the same, which kind of speaks to the resilience of single family and specifically longer term debt that's fixed. The short term rates, well, we just know that ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, really took down the single family housing market in 2007, 2008. And we're kind of seeing that now with multifamily, where so many of the loans over the past couple of years were bridge debt loans, short-term loans that are now adjusting. Some people didn't even buy the rate caps, so they've been adjusting. But anybody who's trying to refi or get out of those loans or in those loans are experiencing much, much higher rates and a lot of volatility. That's my report here from Dallas, Texas. Again, I'm Kathy Fettke, here for BiggerPockets on the Market, presented by Fundrise.